We have ended the war on American workers. We have stopped the assault on American industry. And we have launched an economic boom, the likes of which we have never seen before.
That was President Trump Tuesday at the Economic Club of New York, touting his economic record and making his case for re-election to a group of business leaders. So can he sell that same message to American voters in 2020? Earlier, I spoke to White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow. You've had this decline in investment over the last year or so. It's pretty substantial, and a real manufacturing recession, certainly in parts of manufacturing. What are you doing to try to have that pop back here in the next year?
Well, look, a couple things on that. First of all, as you well know, we have been very hard hit by severe, overly severe monetary policies in 2017 and 2018 without any inflation. So I really think the Fed slamming on the brakes at exactly the wrong time, big mistake. And I think it hurt the hard goods area. It hurt other areas, but not nearly as much as hard goods. The other thing, most recently, in the quarter just ended, and maybe the fourth quarter too, you had the GM strike. You had the Boeing problems with their new airplane. That should straighten itself out by the first quarter. So that's got hurt. Number three, a virtual recession in Europe. A virtual recession, which did a lot of damage to our manufacturing exports. I'm not here to deny that the China tariff war has had an impact. But as I've said 100 times, it's a minimal impact on this country, a minimal impact. They're the ones who had to slash prices. They're the ones who had to slash their currency. They're the ones who are losing supply chains left and right. Their economy, I don't know if you saw the latest batch of numbers.
Yeah, I know. They're under pressure. They're under pressure. There's no question about that. But I don't think it's been a big boon to us in the interim here. We'll see what the final D has. But I want to ask you about one other thing, Larry.
A little optimistic, my friend Poser. Okay. Just a little optimistic because the Fed has taken its foot off the brake. So that's a very good thing. Tremendous consumer spending numbers, tremendous employment numbers. I mean, with revisions and so forth, almost 300,000 jobs in the last month. And one point I just have to make, we are in the midst of an American worker boom. And this is such an important point, an American worker boom, where in just 2.5 years, average real incomes after tax up about $5,000. That's per family, and under the prior administration, actually, let me go nonpartisan. Under the prior two administrations, their numbers were flat. We're up $5,000. That's a worker boom, and that's because the president has defended our economy, and he's going to continue to do so.
So, Dan, you heard Larry Kudlow. How strong a case does the president have on the economy as he runs for re-election?
Well, I think it's probably the strongest case he has, along with the Supreme Court appointments. I mean, I have just been so struck, Paul. I think we thought the tax cuts, the corporate tax rate cuts would work, deregulation would work. I would never have guessed that it would create as many jobs as it has, and especially bringing down the unemployment rate for Black and Hispanic Americans, single women, and wages rising for these people. That's kind of the point of politics. And Donald Trump, if he's as good a salesman as he is, I think has got to go out there and appeal directly to those people and indeed make the argument, compare what he did to the economy to what the Democrats are likely to do. If that unemployment rate starts going back up for Black and Hispanic Americans, that is just going to be a big problem.
So when you got the faster growth, and remember in 2015, 2016, we almost came into a recession, right? Because the recovery was long in the tooth. President Trump comes in, deregulation, tax reform, basically saying business, we're open for business again. You get up to 3% growth for all, you get really tight labor markets, and that's flowing down across the economy.
Right. Look, I think I agree with Dan. The two big issues that mobilized Republican voters were judges and the economy. That's where Republicans stake their credibility on. And he's delivered, but the question is, will it still be delivering next year? That we say, is Trump going to run on this? He's already running on it. Every rally, he talks about the unemployment. But I think he needs to pick up Larry's point about the growth, because the criticism is it's a sugar high. This growth just it helps hedge fund managers and not ordinary Joes. But that figure about average income going up, that's a huge plus for the average worker out there.
But that point was true during the Obama recovery because so much of it was rooted in monetary policy that goosed asset prices.
Right.
And that was people who have assets, not people who earn income and wages. And what we've seen here is that wages have gone up. Now, the problem in the last year or so, 6-9 months, has been the trade policy uncertainty, in my view, and I know Larry Kudlow doesn't want to admit this, but I think it's affected investment, and that has got us back down to 2% growth. The question is now, will it bump back up to 2.5 or a little, maybe even 3?
Oh, I think it would definitely drive it back up. I mean, the thing that was so surprising to us is every month you get the jobs reports come out, not as strong as they were a year ago, but nonetheless still exceeding economist expectations.
For sure.
It is an extraordinary phenomenon.
Well, and people are coming off the sidelines.
Yeah.
People who decided, it's easier to work than take government benefits better.